Hi there. How you doing tonight? That little song that I was playing was called Whiskey Before Breakfast. It was written a long time ago, and I don't know who wrote it. But it's a really good song. We played it tonight at our bluegrass workshop, and a lot of people play it. And there's a whole lot more to it than I just played. I don't know why it's called Whiskey Before Breakfast, but I do not promote that anybody drink whiskey before breakfast. That would be a very bad habit, and it probably not start your day off really well. But
I feel like it'd actually be a good way to start your day off.
Somebody probably did that, and they wrote an old bluegrass song about it. You know, people a long time ago did kind of funny things. In fact, they used to drink whiskey and things like that because they thought it was a cure for certain diseases and colds, and they probably mix it with molasses or something awful like that. But anyway, kind of reminds me, when I'm thinking about things a long time ago, kind of reminds me about my grandma, Meemaw. We called her Meemaw. And she was born in 1885. And when she was born, there weren't any cars or automobiles or anything. All they had was like horses and buggies and horses and buggies. So when she was a little girl and everything, her mom and dad would drive her around in a buggy, which was pulled by a horse. They didn't have a car. And she grew up in Virginia in a rural area, and knew horses and things like that, but never knew anything about cars. And then when cars came in, she married a Episcopal minister, and they never had a car. They lived in Suffolk, Virginia, and they could walk to all the stores and walk everywhere. And he was the minister of the church, and they could walk to the church. So she never knew how to drive. Well, when my mom and dad got married, they had me, and then they had my brother, Tuck. And this was in like the early 1950s. My dad bought an old white Mercury, but back then it was a brand new Mercury, probably a 1953 Mercury or something like that. It was white, I remember it. It's one of those big cars with a rounded body and everything. Well, anyway, my dad really liked that car, and when he would go to work, he would let my mom have it. And my mom would go do shopping with it and stuff. And I was probably about 3 or 4, and my brother was 2. And I remember one day in Virginia, she put my brother and me in the car. Back then there were no seat belts, no child seat, nothing. Put us in the back seat, and her and my grandma, Meemaw, which was her mother, got in the car and went downtown to a store. And my mom went into the store, and she left my grandmother sitting in the passenger seat, and my little brother and me were in the back seat. So then we jumped up in the front seat, and we were pretending like we were driving the car and everything. It was a lot of fun. And we were playing with all the controls and stuff. And the car was kind of like parked, against a curb, but it was on a bit of a hill. And when we were playing, driving and everything, one of us, I think it was him, but he'd probably say it was me, let off the emergency brake, and the car started to roll backwards. And my grandma, she didn't even have enough sense to put her foot on the brake. She just panicked. And she was an old Virginia lady, and she jumps out of the car, and she's holding on to the door like this. She's going,
Oh my goodness, the car's rolling down the hill, please stop.
she's holding on to the car, and the car starts going down really fast and picking up speed, and she's trying to stop the car just by holding onto the door, and it starts going so fast that it just flips her back, and she goes flying off onto the sidewalk. Me and my brother jump back into the back seat, and the car's going down this hill, and we're just like a kid that's like, like I'm like 4 and he's like 3, and we're speeding down this hill in this old Mercury. Well, it crashes. It goes backwards and crashes right into a telephone pole. And I always remember it was like, bam! It was really hard. and we both were crying and crying. And all the people on the sidewalk in the town go running down there to see if we're all right. And my grandma, she went into the store and got my mom. She goes,
Mariah, something's awful happened. The car went down the hill and crashed.
and we were crying, and my mom and grandma went running down there and everything. And so everybody checked us out, and we were okay. My dad was not a happy camper because the back of the car was all smashed up. I think he had insurance because we did get it fixed. But anyway, maybe something similar happened to the person that wrote Whiskey for Breakfast. I don't know. Okay, well that's all for now.
Don't leave your kids in the car alone.
Never leave your kids in the car alone, and if you do leave them in there with a grandma or somebody, make sure they know how to drive a car, or at least put their foot on the brake. That's all for now. Bye.